Nehemiah and Ezra, not our Ezra, but Ezra who brought our people back from captivity. One of our great sages chose the Haftarahs. Uh, we were, as a people, kind of uh, we lost a lot of our um, practices. We lost a lot of our culture. Uh, we lost a lot of our language. So they had a way to where uh, you could do the what was called the cliff notes of the Torah, right, which was encapsulated in the Haftarah. Because a lot of times maybe each community didn't have particular sections of the Torah. Maybe um, they had a section of Ezekiel or something like that. But it's always interesting to see why things are chosen. I think that at the end, uh, it shows that he mentions numbering. As an accountant by trade, I'm an auditor, and I look at numbers. I try to make numbers have meaning. And the Bezrat Hashem, we were blessed with uh, holy Gentiles who were commissioned by Hashem to bring the words of the Torah, the Tanakh, the writings, and the Besorah to the nations, right? If Christianity was only raised up so that the Torah would be proclaimed throughout the entire world, I think it's done its job. And because everywhere in the world you can go, for the most part, you can find a Bible. And 80% of the time it'll have, you know, the Jewish side, right? Which is the vast majority of what makes up a Christian Bible is the Jewish text, right? So, why choose the word numbers? Because honestly, you just look at the numbers and it's right there. It's all these numbers. Um, as I was studying this week, um, I kind of tend to, because of uh, the way I was raised and the way I have my proclivities, I am more inclined to be more um, mystical in my upbringings because I was raised Pentecostal, charismatic, so I'm more inclined that way. So in that vein, uh, writers such as or teachers such as the Baal Shem Tov and his grandson Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, and they quote a lot of things from the Arizal. The Arizal was a mystic who was one of the great leaders of Kabbalah, and he was a student of the writer of the Zohar. So there's a mystical tradition in Judaism. A lot of people will try to say it's all gobbledygook and witchcraft and stuff. They haven't studied it. Anything removed from the Torah loses its meaning and it can get completely distorted. But I want to share with you this week something that I found very interesting. And so one of the things that I was reading this week was saying that numbers matter, right? Numbers, if we could just, if you're inclined to be a quantum mechanic or a theoretical physicist, this will kind of make you uh, make you kind of like it'll pique your interest. If not, if it's over your head, I apologize. But everything our sages said this way back, and now there's a guy by the name of John Nash. He was a economist, and there was a movie not too well. It's hard for me to gauge when I say a movie. It could have been 10, 15, 20 years ago. I say just a few years ago, and then I realize it's 20 years ago. But there was this movie about this man who was um, mentally ill, and he was a very brilliant economist. and he was obsessed with a lot of the great thinkers of science, Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein, these people that had high levels of math. They've all said basically that there's something in the universe that all these numbers mean things, right? So Hashem is saying there's 43,500 here of this tribe, and this tribe has this number, and this tribe has this number. These numbers have meaning. And Hashem is like, I've heard it explained one way, as in Hashem, it's almost like a collector. It's almost like somebody who has his precious things. You've seen somebody who maybe collects cars or collects models, or they collect comic books or stamps, and they'll tell you all about their collection. They'll tell you, oh, this is, model 483, and Hashem cares about us. He cares about us so much that he tracks our hair. It says that he collects every single one of our tears. I was reading this week that the Arizal has these. I was going to get into this, but the Arizal has. He says that if you do this sin, you can fast for this many days. If you do this sin, you can fast for this many days. There's this whole chapter that he wrote about Teshuvah, and he's wrote down every intricate sin, But he said, if you really, really pray hard, and you pray, and you cry, and you really get into the emotional aspect of it, it's like 10 or 100 times a prayer. So Hashem wants us to be emotive. He wants us to be not just going through the motions. He wants us to be emotive and to call out to him with our entire being. Okay, so I heard something this week that was just kind of mind-blowing, and I checked several different sources on it, and it seems to be correct. And so there's this musician, Michael Jackson. Everybody knows he's a pop phenomenon, but he got burnt in a commercial for Pepsi. And the very day that he got burnt, this is something it kind of shows the mysteries of our universe. The very day that he got burnt was the midpoint of his life. The same amount of days previous to that day and post to that day, right? So it was the very exact midpoint of his life. And we have things in our life that go up and down, right? And if we just had the tools, now this is what Hashem tells us. Hashem tells us, our sages say, there's several things that we shouldn't dwell on. We shouldn't dwell about the end times. We shouldn't dwell about the founding of the universe. And part of that is, they call the pillars of the universe. These are things that Hashem put in order, numbers that mean something. And if we just got a glimpse into it, it's almost like a dream that we're like, oh, wow, I can grab onto that. But then you grab onto it and then you forget it, right? Because we don't have the capacity to understand it. But what we do understand is that every single thing that Hashem puts together, including me and you, right, matter, right? So just put yourself in the position of one of the tribes of Israel, right? The Midrash says that Shimon was a very volatile, right? He was one of the people that caused. He was the one that was behind the prisoning of Joseph. One of the reasons why he was selected to stay back, according to Midrash. So he was very passionate. He was very opinionated, and he had issues, right? But he was able to do teshuvah, right? And he was actually, in the Midrash, it talks about that he wasn't able to let go of what he did to Yosef. He was just, what do I do? How do I make up for this? And how do I make it? He was over the top about it. And the fact is that every single person, every single son of Israel is represented in today's Torah portion, right? Whether they were doing righteous things or they were doing wicked things, they ended their life on a righteous note, right? We see this, and Yosef says, don't be bickering on the way home. He's saying, don't get involved too much on Torah study and get an argument about it. That's what the Midrash says he was saying, right? So when we look at these proclamations by the Torah, it says, so and so, son of so and so, numbered in the such and such a number, right? It's saying that there was a small group of people, 12 sons. They started in a place, in a promise that Hashem made way back a long time ago. He told Abraham, I'm going to make you a father of many nations, right? So in that piece that Hashem used each individual person, right? Another thing that Arizal says is that Hashem causes certain things that you're not able to overcome so that you can rely on others, right? Every single one of us is important. Every single one of us has strengths and weaknesses. And where you're strong, you can help your brother or sister. You can actually help carry things for them. And at the same time, if you're weak, you can find your brother. And, we can all strive to be tzaddiks in a specific area of our life. Hashem wants us to try to be perfect. He wants us to be perfect. And the application is be in the process of being perfect. So I think at the end of the day, thankfully through our Christian brothers and sisters who did the interpreting of the Bible and changed the name to Numbers, our rendering is in the desert, right? Saying our place is in a place of stagnation. Our place is a place of learning, right? But we can use both of them, right? Everything we do has meaning. Everything we are has meaning. And so take that and we can apply that and see that we can trust that Hashem is true to his word. When he looked down, he said that his creation is good, and that includes me, and it includes you, creates all of mankind. So we just have to live up to it. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you, Rav Safa, for your drosh, your wise words, your steadfastness, and everything else, you and your family as well. I like how you talked about Michael Jackson. I feel like a lot of things have happened very recently in my life. I feel like I'm going through a sort of a midlife crisis, perhaps not only because of mental emotional things. Usually midlife crisis is tied to more about perspective, but actual things happening in my life, like health and other things. And I hope, like Michael Jackson, this is only the midpoint of my life. I'm 47, so that would mean, I'd live to, almost, maybe almost 100. 120, Ezra said, hopefully, maybe. Or Ezra, that would be nice. But even if I only reached, 100, that'd be nice. If I reached 70, that would be okay too. And hopefully what I'm going through right now is just a sort of spiritual burning. Okay, anyways, I do have a drosh prepared, but I wanted to, hold on.